Okay, next up is Tomahawk. Tomahawk, you spoke on multiple sclerosis, and you did an excellent job of establishing your credibility. I haven't said too much to this point about credibility, but it's crucial that you establish why you're doing credibility. Uh, who are you? Where are you coming from? What is your expertise on this? Why are you the person talking about it? We've talked about that every time we've had speeches. You did a great job on that. Watch your flow. You had several bad pauses as you're going along, and you get that pause, and it makes people kind of disjointed on what you're doing. So watch that. Um, you'd be flowing and conversational, and then it get disjointed and you'd lose the conversational point, and then you'd come back to it. You must cite your sources in your speech. Why you put a light on the visual that you had, I don't know. It blotted out the spot that you were showing me, and you need to practice that ahead of time. Look at a video of it, see what it looks like before you do it. Um, you have no need to zoom the camera to the visual. It's annoying, and the camera makes noise when you do so. You had a situation at the end where you finished and you did mugging. Don't do that. It ruins the whole concept of your speech when you say, and that's it. You know, when you do that, it blows it. Just say thank you for your attention, or and in conclusion, and just stop when you're done. Don't do anything after that. An interesting introduction of your audience. For the old guy here, it was somewhat amusing. I wouldn't do that too much because it can detract from a very important um, topic, and you want to be careful of that. Lucky, you talked about the New York Yankees. You were somewhat conversational. Your energy was terrible. You want to have strong start, strong finish. I can't see your eyes. It's too dark. I can't even tell if your eyes are open. You have something bright and white behind you, and that can mess up the camera aperture. Um, you gave a collection of facts. Several of you did this in your informational speech. It was kind of like a college lecture. Fact 1, fact 2, fact 3, fact 4, fact 5. Tie it together. Tell a story. Make it mean something in what you're doing. It was not a conversational story you were telling me. You were giving me a collection of facts. You showed a picture, you said, of a stadium. I don't know. It could have been a stadium. It could have been a collection of cowboys. I couldn't see it. You also have the sniffles. We've talked about this before. You don't want to be doing that when you're doing a speech. Watch the tisk when you talk. Also, you had no sources in your outline. You had no speaking outline and no prep outline. What's your credibility in this? We talk about this a lot. You didn't say it. If you have any, are you a lifelong Yankees fan? Have you been to a lot of games? Are you originally from New York? I don't know, but establish your credibility when you do that. Next is Schlinkler, and you talked about idioms. Somewhat interesting. You need to hold longer on the visuals. When you hold them up, they weren't up long enough for me to read or even to know what it was a picture of. The picture was light. It was very difficult to see. You were not conversational. Again, sounds like you were doing a lecture. More like you're reading a script. Again, a collection of facts. Fact 1, fact 2, fact 3, fact 4. And why just 2 idioms? There are a lot of idioms in the American language. And certainly you could have spent a lot of time on idioms, more than just watch your P's and Q's and has the cat got your tongue. Lots of things you could have done there and make it more interesting. By the way, I check all speeches for plagiarism, and I ran yours, and ironically, there are several sites that are word for word some of the things you said, even word for word in what you had in your outline. The problem is they all quote each other word for word, so it's very difficult to tell who may have taken from whom. And so I'm not going to hold that against you, but you want to be really, really careful on that. You came up a tad short on your speech when you take off the intro stuff of your audience, and I start with when you actually start to speak until you finish. You were a little bit short of your 5 minutes. You want to be careful on that. Okay, let's talk in general. You can pretty well figure out what your score is in this class, what your grade will be. You know how many speeches are left. You know what the point value of those speeches is. You know how many discussion boards are left, and you know how many exams are left. And there's also the speaker critique in there. You can add up the points and see where you are. You can do some projecting and know where you are based on how you've done so far. I would suggest you do that. That'll give you a good idea of how you're doing. When I look to see how many people have viewed these presentations that I give, it's kind of interesting that the first one will have the most, the second one will have fewer, and the last one will have even fewer. You're supposed to watch all of these all the way through, because something I say to one of you could be of assistance to all of you. It is also something you may want to go back and review before your next speech, some of the things I've been saying, because they could be helpful. Your next speech, the persuasive speech, is a huge speech. It's very important, and it's going to be worth a lot of points, and it would seem to me that you'd want to pay a lot of attention to that. Equally on the discussion board, please read the directions on the discussion board. Find out what it is you're supposed to be talking about. Read and see if you're supposed to comment on what somebody else has said, and then if you are, make sure you do that. Otherwise, you won't get full points on what you're posting there. You kind of know how you're doing on the exams. You can project all of that, come up with some kind of a score, and see how you're doing overall, and go from there. If you have any questions, as always, you can call me in my office. The number is on the syllabus that you have. Have a great week. Hope the weather stays nice, and we'll be talking to you soon.